My greetings, students. I hope you all are doing really great. So this is Safia and I'll be teaching you SST this year. Let's get started. So the very first topic that we are going to talk in this video is the climate of India. Sounds interesting? Yes, it is interesting. So whenever we talk about climatic or geographical conditions prevailing over an area or a region or a place, then we talk about two things. One is weather and another is climate. They may sound same, but they are different phenomena. So we'll discuss them one by one. What is weather? Weather is a temporary which does not last for so long and which is of shorter duration and day-to-day change in the atmospheric conditions of an area. So it is an atmospheric condition prevailing over a region that lasts for only a short period of time. For example, it was raining yesterday and now the sun has come out and the sky is clear. The weather is hot, right? So that will be called as a change in weather. Now if we talk about the literal definition of weather, then weather is an hour-to-hour change in the temperature, air pressure, wind speed and precipitation. These are the environmental or atmospheric phenomena prevailing over a region. So if any temporary change occurs in such phenomena, then we'll call that atmospheric condition as weather. Now, just as the study of past is called history, similarly, we have a separate study for weather, which is called meteorology. So the study of weather is called meteorology. Now climate is an average long time atmospheric condition of an area, an atmospheric condition that lasts for a longer period of time, and that will be called as climate of that area. Climate basically defines that region. Sometimes we have different climatic zones that are divided based on the climate of those regions. For example, India has a tropical and a subtropical climate. If we talk about the equatorial region, it has a hot and humid climate. Why? Because the equatorial region receives vertical or direct rays of the sun, and as a result evaporation is there and so precipitation, that means rainfall, occurs. So it has both type of climates, hot and humid. Similarly, the climate of Antarctica and Greenland is always cold because it receives very less to no rays of the sun. So I hope this is clear. If you are not aware or were confused about what the tropical, subtropical and equatorial regions are, we will discuss this with the help of this slide. Our earth, based on the geographical and climatic conditions, has been divided into different zones, several zones. These zones are equatorial region, tropical region, subtropical or temperate zone, polar region or frigid zone. Equatorial and tropical region, when combined, they become torrid zone. Now these zones have been demarcated on the basis of some latitudinal circles. These circles are equator, the tropics, they are two, the Tropic of Cancer, which is in the northern hemisphere, the Tropic of Capricorn, which is in the southern hemisphere, the Arctic and Antarctic circle on the northern and the southern hemisphere respectively. Now we'll discuss this with the help of a diagram to make you understand it better. So, our Earth has been divided into two equal parts by a line in the middle, which is called equator. The line in the middle that divides Earth into two equal parts is called equator. The upper part, that is the northern part, is called as the northern hemisphere, and the lower part is called the southern hemisphere. Moving ahead from the equator, there are two more lines or circles. These are called the tropics. The Tropic of Cancer lies in the northern hemisphere, and the Tropic of Capricorn lies in the southern hemisphere. The region between the tropics, the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, is called the tropical region. From the equator to the Tropic of Cancer, tropical zone, and from the equator to the Tropic of Capricorn, there is tropical region. The next region, which is the subtropical region, it lies between the Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere, and between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle in the southern hemisphere. This region in between is called the temperate region or the subtropical region. Next is our North Pole and the South Pole. This zone is called as the frigid zone or the polar regions. Why? Because they are always covered with snow. The climate of these regions is always cold. Why is it so? Why the polar regions are always cold and the equatorial region is hot and receives extreme heat, while the temperate region is cooler than the tropics? There is a reason behind it. The reason behind the differential heating and cooling of these land masses is the differential heat received by these regions from the sun. The equatorial region receives direct and vertical rays of the sun. When a region receives direct and vertical rays of the sun, it receives immense heat. Similarly, tropics also receive direct and vertical rays of the sun. Not as much as equator, but yes. Then there is temperate zone. The temperate zone is comparatively cooler than the tropics and the equatorial region. Why? Because it receives slanting rays of the sun, and slanting rays carry less heat. So less heat is reached to this zone. So the temperate zone or the subtropical region is comparatively cooler than the tropics and the equatorial region. While if we talk about the polar zones, they receive very less to no rays of the sun, which is why they are cold throughout the year and snow is there throughout the year. I hope you understood it. So this concludes our first part of this chapter. We discussed about weather and climate, that they are two different phenomena. Weather is a temporary change in the atmospheric condition of an area, and while the climate is a long time atmospheric condition over that area. And that the earth is divided into several geographical or climatic zones: the equatorial region, tropics, temperate zone, and the polar regions. And these zones are divided by major latitudinal circles, that is equator, Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, Arctic, and the Antarctic circle. Now your assignment: There are some blanks that you have to fill, and you have to copy it in your notebook, in your previous notebook of SST if you don't have a new one, and keep it with you. And these questions, there are two questions: what is the difference between climate and weather, and how many zones has the earth been divided into, and explain with the help of a diagram. You can take help from this video also, and you have to keep these assignments with you because we'll be needing this when the school reopens. Thank you.